Hello everybody, Mr. Wick here. Today's assignment is to think about and decide what is my story? What is the meaningful personal experience that I'm going to write about for my personal narrative essay? For this you will need to do some self-reflection to come up with something that happened in your life that changed you in some way. It has to be something that you remember vividly. It could be a big or a small moment, but it has to have produced powerful emotions in you. Something that made you happy, or sad, or angry, or scared. It has to be something that you can't forget. And when thinking about this experience you're going to write about, I want you to also to reflect on something that changed you in some way. It has to be something that made you the person you are today. An experience also that gave you a life lesson. Let's look at some examples of a meaningful personal experience. So maybe you remember moving home or moving country. Maybe it was moving to New York for the first time. Or maybe it was your first day at school, maybe at high school a couple of months ago, or maybe middle school, elementary school. Maybe that was meaningful to you in some way. Maybe it was falling in love for the first time, or falling out of love. Possibly you've had an accident in the past, or a vacation which was particularly memorable. In order to help you remember and maybe think about what you're going to write about, let's look at some things that you can do to try and bring those memories to the front of your mind. So, I always remember this picture of me and my sister. I remember it being taken in our backyard. So one thing to do is to look back at pictures of yourself, maybe pictures with your friends or with your family. Does that bring back something that happened that produced a powerful emotion in you? Or maybe you had an accident. So this is actually my knee, my left knee, and I had to have an operation because I damaged it playing soccer one time. So maybe this was a powerful experience for you. Here's another scar that I had, so another accident. This is where I fell off my bike. This is a few years ago. No, I was not in a fight. And this gave me a very personal memory and experience of trying to be more careful when I'm riding my bike. But scars can also be emotional. So we talked a little bit about a broken heart, or it could be a way in which you were bullied at school or in your neighborhood. Maybe someone close to you was sick or died. Or maybe you remember something that made you particularly angry or afraid. Okay, so it could be a physical scar, something that actually physically happened to you, or it could be an emotional scar. Another good way of thinking about your personal experience is to think about objects that are important to you. So one thing you can do is actually to trace the outline of your hand, like in this picture here, and think about all those objects that you touch or that have important meaning to you. And maybe one of those will trigger a memory or an experience that was powerful. Another thing to do possibly is to draw a floor plan of maybe where you used to live, one of the places you used to live. This is a floor plan of the house that I grew up in, and this produced some powerful memories when I'm thinking about it. I remember sleepwalking, for example. I remember the room I shared with my twin sister until we went to high school. I remember my parents fighting while I was listening in the hallway. So these are all powerful memories that I can think about if I think about where I used to live. Or you could just remember something about a scene, one particular scene, maybe at the kitchen table. Okay, so normally everyone has a kitchen table that they eat around. Maybe you remember an argument or something that someone said, or just a very joyous occasion like Thanksgiving or something that produced a powerful emotion in you that you remember. And then once you've got or you think you know what you're going to write about, this is what you need to complete. So the first thing you need to think about is, what is that moment? What is that experience that produced the powerful emotions? And I give you some examples here, and you're just going to write in detail just about what the moment was. And then you got to think about, why was it meaningful to you? How did it shape you or change you in some way? And as we've been doing when we've been talking about plot, every story, as you know, has some kind of problem or conflict. So what is the problem within your story? What did you have to overcome to become the person you are now? And then finally, what did you learn from this experience? What's your life lesson or central idea? So let's look at Mr. Wick's example. So my moment was, I remember falling in love. I was 10 years old. I really liked this girl. She was very popular. She was called Angela. This is a true story. She was 12. She was 2 years older than me. But Angela was in love with my best friend. So we went on this triple date. I think it was to a park. But Angela was like more into my friend. We had a fight. Next day I punched my best friend. Angela dumped me, and then she started dating my best friend. They actually broke up a few months later, but I was sad for a really long time. So this experience was meaningful because I found it hard to trust people for a long time. Didn't actually go on another date for at least 5 years, and it also changed my relationships with other people. And the conflict in that story, or the problem, is just my best friend, right? Because Angela was interested in him, so he was the problem I had to overcome. And what did I learn? Well, I learned that love is complicated. Even at 10 years old I learned this, and to make sure that you fall in love with the right person, someone who will love you back. So I've given you this document of my example to guide you when you're thinking about your own. Good luck with that. If you need any help, always send me a message in chat.